Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar of the month. Today, July 22nd, 2020, we will be talking about training for the kitchen professional. We are joined by Jan from Vestabul School of Design. How are you today, Jan?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Jason.
Nice to have you here. So let's get started. So, Jan, tell us just a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, well, there's some long list here of some of my different, experience. And really, I've been a professional kitchen designer for more than 25 years, and began by getting a degree in home economics, back in the 80s, and ended up taking a kitchen design course while I was there, and I was hooked. And once I'd started my career as a kitchen designer, I really got involved with the industry of being a member of the Home Builders Association and sitting on the board of different design associations. And as my career progressed, I worked for multiple different types of manufacturers, and then I ended up opening my own millwork shop and running that for about 10 years. And that was just in a time when it was difficult for me to get all of the design products that I wanted. And and then teaching and lecturing became kind of a focus for quite a while, of lecturing at trade shows. I've even lectured at the International Builders Show and the Kitchen and Bath Industry Show, and continue to do local trade shows and developing courses. And it just became all encompassing for me. And and to point, and I was adding it up the other day, I have designed over 1,000 kitchens. So
wow.
Having a little bit of experience.
Yes,
there.
you have some experience.
Yes. Yeah, and and also still living a very creative lifestyle. I definitely believe it's a big advantage being a kitchen designer if you know your way around a kitchen. So I do a lot of preserving and dinner parties and canning and cooking and I've moved quite a bit, and so I've ended up actually, I think, either building or renovating probably half a dozen kitchens for myself. So it's been an exciting time.
So let me ask you, so you have a design award here. So what was that design award for?
Oh, so I've been fortunate enough to have quite a few. Starting off with, I've placed in the National Kitchen and Bath Association design contests, starting back in the 90s, and ended up judging those one year. I won the very first Silestone kitchen design contest that Silestone put together, which was great, and that allowed me to go to their plant in Spain to see how it was made. So that was a great prize. I've placed on different. I think it was the Sub-Zero Wolf one I placed quite a few years ago, and lots of different kind of local Home Builders Association design awards. So it's just looking at any way to be able to promote yourself. If I see a contest that I think would be good for me, I'll enter it, and been lucky enough to win quite a few of them.
Nice. So do you have a certain style that you like to work with in terms of modern, Mediterranean?
Yeah. No, do you know what? I get asked that, quite a bit, because that's something that clients are looking for.
Right.
And for me, I always go with the philosophy of form follows function. So what I mean by that is that I really specialize in the functionality of the space and the science of design. So when it comes to the arts, like be it a Mediterranean or modern, etc., absolutely, I can work in any style a client wants. But honestly, we don't even hit that end of it till at least halfway, or sometimes even 3/4 of the way through the design process. I have an idea of what they like, but it really is about the functionality of this room.
That makes sense. Okay, so if I'm a designer, why should I actually invest in more training? Since I went to school, already have a degree, did all this, why is it vital that I invest in more training?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing is that it really does show your professionalism. And what I mean by that is when you are taking courses and you're learning new things and you're sitting down with, maybe a prospective client or even a prospective employer, you're showing that you're really committed. And
Hmm.
you're also showing you have the answers or you know where to go and get the answers. So
Right.
it's really showing your professionalism with ongoing training. Probably the
Okay.
probably the biggest one is to avoid mistakes in your projects. As I said, I've been practicing since the mid 80s. I still will go to training seminars with the appliance manufacturers, for instance, because there's new things coming out. There's idiosyncrasies to installing and designing with these products. So having ongoing training at all aspects of our profession really will help you avoid mistakes on your projects. And we all know this is the most expensive room in the home
Right.
to complete, and mistakes are so costly. Like
Hmm.
you make a small mistake, and you got to redo a wall of cabinetry. That's not a couple $100. It's a couple $1,000. So it's to help that you're not making mistakes. It's also to expand your design offerings. And for that, I mean that if you're not training, if you're not out there looking for new skills, you may be missing some of the opportunities that are available to you. And
Right.
and I think that it's just being aware. We cannot know everything, just sitting at our our office or our cubicle or wherever it is. It can really help to expand what you can offer your clients because you've been trained in the area. And I think that the last thing is to really stay fresh and motivated. So I've got it here on the slide presentation. And people can get into a rut. Like we can
Hmm.
all be working day in, day out. And I start to see that in particular areas, because I've worked all over North America and even abroad, that there's certain looks that are just happening all the time, and you can really get into a rut. So if you're taking ongoing training, even I had a designer say to me a few weeks ago that even taking a course and getting one piece of information out of it is very valuable
Right.
to her course. It's very motivating for her.
That's true. I just have to admit, I went to your website and you actually have an exercise where you say, can you identify the 10 mistakes in this
Yeah,
design? I was
yeah,
only able to get 8 of the 10. So
yeah,
I
no,
so
yeah.
I actually learned some things from that. I was like, wow, this is interesting.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that I'll talk to with my students or other designers is that um, we all learn from each other. And
Hmm.
by you going through that course, and I did put that course on my school, and I offer it for free because I feel it's really important
Right.
that people be looking at the functionality of the functionality and the safety of this room. And I've got to admit, those mistakes that I show are, I have seen them all in the field. And
Hmm.
I designed that mistake-filled kitchen. It took me a couple of months to kind of get it so that it looked good, and yeah, it looked pretty good. This would be a great looking
Hmm.
kitchen until you dive into it. And again, it's the between the kitchen and the bathroom, this is where accidents happen in the home.
Right.
These are spaces where you really need that functionality. So it's
And that's a great exercise because, like I said, when I did 8 of the 10 and I found what the other two were, I was like, wow, this is it. I'm like, those small things could be hundreds, if not thousands more that you spend on doing updates and renovations to the kitchen. So
oh,
those small
absolutely, yeah.
little errors can cost you.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think something too that when you talk about training and keeping fresh, a big buzzword right now in kitchen design is universal design and
Mhm. Yep.
aging in place
Agent in
design.
place. Exactly.
And if you don't have that functionality to a kitchen, in my opinion, you're designing a disposable kitchen
Okay.
because, somebody, I live up in Canada and I'm right near a ski resort, and you wouldn't believe, the people coming down with a twisted ankle and they're on crutches. Well, I've got people calling me right now to help them renovate their homes because, of a skiing accident and they can't get in the bathroom anymore, or,
Okay.
they can't read, they can't, use the kitchen effectively. So just keep learning. That's really what I'm trying to say. Keep learning and moving forward.
I like that. So now, if I'm an agency owner, if I own a firm, why is it vital that I invest in training for my employees?
Well, I think, the kitchen industry is a very, very large industry, and there is a lot of competition. And, I strongly believe that if you're offering like ongoing training for your staff, that's going to be something that will really help to attract and keep professional staff. If they know that there's going to be regular training and that's helping their career as well, you're going to be at top of the list of a place that professional kitchen designers are going to work. I also find that it is, again, a great way to keep staff motivated and productive,
Okay.
because the training, like we said before, really helps to eliminate mistakes, which helps to increase sales. And any employer that's looking at training their employees, they want to get a return on that investment, and the return
Right.
on that investment can be higher, more profitable sales with less mistakes. I think that's probably the number one reason that that a firm would want to train their kitchen designers. But
That makes sense.
yeah, but I've also found too that within a firm, you may have somebody that's really keen. That might be a support staff person that came in, or maybe somebody that, if you've got a manufacturing facility that's been working in the shop, or there's lots of different areas of the industry that there may be that. Employees that you could promote from within if you had training, so if you've
Right.
got someone that's really keen, this is a great way to do it. And I think another great reason for firms to invest in training is to bring consistency to their offerings. I've gone into different, cabinet showrooms or kitchen showrooms and met with, maybe 2 or 3 different salespeople, designers at different times, and they all have different approaches, and it's so confusing. And it's difficult, for me to, just send a client in, or because I don't know what they're going to get. And
Right.
training can really bring consistency to that showroom's offerings, and it really helps. It really will help build your reputation, and clients and customers or consumers know what to expect when they come, if everybody has been trained consistently.
And that makes sense because we actually work with a lot of interior designers. And one of the interior designers that we work with, they said one of their employees chose their firm over others because ongoing training that they have, and, the continuing education that they have within the firm. So
Oh,
that employee over all of the competition. So that is important.
oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. So in terms of the training, how should it be delivered?
Well, this is the big question of the day right now, because we are in a different world than we were 6 months ago. But you do have to look at options. When it comes to training, different people will learn different ways. So, you do have to be able to look at what's going to be best for you if you're an individual, what's going to be best for your firm if you're a firm. But typically, the learning options out there are, traditional classroom training,
Okay.
where, everybody's brought together, an instructor up front, and away you go. Online training absolutely has become very, very strong. And, since the beginning of the pandemic, and, it's affecting us worldwide, that, online training is making a lot of sense. That, it's just safer at this
Right.
point. A lot of people love books. Like I have a library of over 200 books that focus on kitchen design, home design, bathroom design, and I do like. There's certain times I just like to be able to sit down and kind of read a book on the subject and learn.
Okay.
And then mentoring. I think mentoring is a great learning option. I've been fortunate enough to mentor, probably about half a dozen, young designers over the years. One for one. We've been, talking, and I've been mentoring her for 20 years. Got another, gal. It's been about 5 or 6 years, and
Hmm.
something like that. Like if you can find a mentor, and it's something that I'm really looking into with my school, because I think that one-on-one kind of helping them. It's a learning option that can combine all of the classroom, the online, the reading materials, and your
Right.
mentor can help you with that. So that's those are the options. I think that in this day and age, the time commitment starts to become something that is top of mind. When I was researching before I launched my school, I did a lot of research and talked to a lot of designers, and wanted to find out how do they want to learn. And one of the big things that came back is they had a difficult time with scheduled learning. That
Okay.
time is of the essence. The customer comes first. If somebody calls and really needed something and that was going to help their business, they were going to do that over going to a scheduled meeting, or a scheduled training session. So flexible training, i.e. through the form of, kind of on-demand online training, was something that people were looking at as a great resource. Uh,
Right.
mhm. And I
Okay.
think, even with that too, it was interesting. A lot of my research brought to light the time commitment also meant how long it was going to take. That people like to be able to get, quick, small bursts of training, and being able, not have to sit down for a 2-hour lecture,
Hmm.
to be able to, have it broken down. So if they've got 15 minutes on a coffee break or over their lunch hour, that they can watch, a 10-minute video, that was something that people were looking for in their busy lives.
Okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense. So now, how is Vestibule set up for training? How does that all work?
So when I decided to put this all together, it was I've been thinking about it for a couple of years, but early in the spring is when I really wanted to focus on it. And I looked at how did I learn the business? And I literally went back, to 1985, and thought about, what were the learnings that I had in those early years, and what did I do like every year to increase my knowledge. So I've built Vestabul School of Design around my journey. And how I then decided to break it down was to offer online courses in 3 different areas. So I've called them cornerstone, pillar, and icon. And the cornerstone courses are really, the basics. It's the fundamental learning. It's where somebody that's maybe just starting out in the kitchen industry, who's been doing it for maybe a year or two, or even somebody that's looking for a refresher. And
Mhm.
that's the course that covers everything from the theories of kitchen design, all of the layouts and why they came about and how you might use them, through to, even the different types of appliances, from freestanding to built-in to integrated, and what does that mean, and what's the terminology. So it's a long course. It's about 2 hours long, but I've broken it into a lot of small, 5 to 7 minutes, little snippets, so that you don't have to sit down for 2 hours. And then
Okay.
I also included a lot of PDF downloads, like an initial survey form. You can't really start designing a kitchen for somebody if you don't know.
Right.
anything about them. So things like that, and checklists and storage things. So that is kind of the basic, and I'll be adding some more cornerstone courses. I then put together a section called Pillar. And this was because I was getting designers. I actually have an advisory designer council that is part of Vestabul School of Design. And this is a group of about 7 designers that I get together with regularly that just give me advice, and I can ask them questions about training. And something that came out of those sessions were the designers that had like 10 years experience saying, I'd like kind of those next level courses.
Okay.
So
Right.
those are what the pillars. And then I also found, again, our attention to the amount of time we have to devote to learning. I felt that the icon courses, which are these really quick learning courses that are on a specific topic, like designing a kitchen for the baker, designing the kitchen for an entertainer. They're 15 to 30 minutes, and they will dive deep into a subject. And it's easy for somebody to take that, on a lunch hour, on a break, or in the evening. So
Okay.
that's how I've set it up, and it just kind of gives you the options and helps people to kind of figure out where would be the best way for them to go based on where they are in their journey of their kitchen design career.
Right.
Yeah. So then the courses are really the focus, but due to the fact that I have mentored a lot of kitchen designers over the years, I'm in the process right now of putting together an online mentoring program that
Okay.
would spend more time with that I'd be able to spend some group sessions with them, and I'm putting together like a very detailed course on bringing the kitchen designer along, having them do some designs and having me mark them and giving them feedback, and helping them with whatever they're working on, and just encouraging them and being there just to answer their questions. Because I think that as you get into it, as you start designing, things come up. And
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've always had that, back in the 80s, the Rolodex, and now my virtual Rolodex. Even now at this stage, I have mentors out there that I just get online and send them a note. And so that I want to be able to do something like that for the design industry. And then also group training. Now that I am up in the Vancouver, Canada area,
Mm-hmm.
but I will be offering, and I have done this in the past, where I've come into firms and done that traditional lecture and training programs with the staff, and I do offer that, and we'll be looking at how to transition that into online training as well.
Right. Have you seen that some of the people that are interested, they just really want more so of the mentoring from you, just, based on your experience as opposed to the courses?
Well, what I found is that, I'm seeing people signing up and taking the courses, and some I hear from, some I don't. I'm thinking of one particular gal that she was going through the beginner's course, and she just reached out, like she had a question about something completely unrelated that
Okay.
she's working, and it was an interesting question. And as I said, every area of North America and the world are going to have their idiosyncrasies when it comes to design. But her
Mm-hmm.
question, she just reached out to me and asked, why am I going into multifamily developments and seeing all of the upper cabinets 24 inches off the countertop instead of the recommended 18 inches?
Right.
I knew that answer, and I gave it back to her. And if anybody's interested, it's really a cost savings that
Okay.
as our buildings started getting bigger, and interior room heights went from 8 feet to 9 feet to 10 feet. 7-foot high cabinets was too squat, so they just started taking standard cabinetry and pushing it up, and it became a cost savings.
Mm-hmm.
It looks good, like I said to her, it can look good, you walk in, But I'll tell you, I hear so many complaints from homeowners once they've bought, a condominium or an apartment and moved into it, and they can only reach the first
Oh
shelf.
yeah, that's my mom.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
We just
exactly.
moved my mom last year, and that's the one thing that she talked about. Why are I'm only 5'2". I cannot reach half of the stuff up there. So yeah, I
Yeah.
hear that complaint from her all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that, what, and I was there, just to be able to answer that for her. And I love interacting with, with the students, because it's a very complicated industry, and there's a lot of questions. And for me, those questions, I have those answers 99% of the time. And if I don't, I know where to go find the answer. And it's just going to help us move our industry forward and
Right.
keep the professionalism high, and avoid mistakes is the big thing.
I know the mentoring aspect is valuable because a lot of the clients that we work with, that's what they do is the mentor part, and that's invaluable. What else does Vestabul School of Design offer?
So, as I said, I really want to be able to share my knowledge and my expertise with the industry. So one of the things that I am doing is I have started writing a blog. I try to get it out weekly. One didn't come out this week because I was working on this and working on some other things. But the weekly Vesta blog is something that I would encourage people to check out, because my blog is a kitchen designer speaking to kitchen designers. And I think, that's the biggest difference. I'm not speaking to consumers. I'm not trying to take, your work away and give it to a consumer to do.
Right.
I'm really wanting to talk about subjects that affect the designer. For 25, 30 years, I've been hearing the debate about kitchen design fees and retainers. Well, that was one of the first blogs I wrote, all the different options, how you can do it, what it entails, because this is a conversation I think we need to be having with kitchen designers. We are professionals, and we should be compensated for our knowledge. So, writing a blog about that. And
just before you move to the next one, I'm, a member of your blog, and when I actually read it, I learn something new every time. So that's just a side.
Oh,
okay.
Well, thank you, Jason. Yeah, and it's been interesting too. Like I wrote a blog a little while ago about, has HGTV hurt or helped the kitchen industry?
Exactly. Yep.
Because again, like they're topics that I get asked about all the time, or that come up in conversation. So I'm always putting notes on my phone about, okay, write a blog about this, write a blog about that. This is something people are interested in. So it is different in that I'm talking to you and your listeners and the kitchen industry on the whole, that these are discussions that we need to be having.
Right.
And then of course your typical social media. I do enjoy Instagram. That's probably my favorite platform, and I love being able to share there and post the pictures and inspiration, etc. So the Instagram feed, I try to be on there every couple of days, just just sharing different things that I'm doing, interacting with people. It's a nice way to quickly interact with your followers on the different subjects. And then, Facebook, and I'll admit, I'm kind of new to Facebook. I just wasn't I wasn't an adopter of Facebook. I was more into Instagram and Pinterest, and
right.
I did spend some years in the corporate world. So LinkedIn was something. So I've recently really started working on Facebook, and I've got a friend that is much more versed in it, and she's been helping me out. And we have fun every weekend, every Sunday night. We kind of look at some different Facebook posts, and I provide her with a bunch of content, and we build some posts, and she puts them out there, and we're really having fun with it, and we're getting some good feedback, because as I said, I'm always learning myself. So it's very typical if I'm, watching TV at night that I'm scrolling on my iPad, looking at different other blogs and websites, specifically ones from around the world to get different perspectives. And that I'm finding that Facebook is a really good place for me to post, those design contest winners from Australia or,
Right.
European kitchen trends, those types of things you'll find on our Facebook page. And then just getting started, because I only launched the school last month. But part of it now is we're wanting to get more involved in launching a private group on Facebook for people really, really passionate about the kitchen design industry. And the Facebook group, when you go in and look at it, it's as I said, it's just getting started, but it is going to be focusing on the art of design, the science of design, and the business of design. So really looking at the kitchen industry as this is a business, and you need to have all three of those components happening in your practice to be successful.
Okay.
And then the last is, with the courses, there will be new courses coming on regularly. I actually did launch a new pillar course this week on Tuesday, yesterday, and this pillar course is all on interior finishings for the kitchen designer. And interior finishings are like moldings and interior doors and ceiling treatments and wall treatments. And I was fortunate enough to be a product designer for one of the largest molding and millwork manufacturers in North America. And I designed their collection of moldings. And I really, really saw a great opportunity for kitchen designers to use these products. So I wrote the pillar course. And actually, I have a luncheon later today with another expert. He's a lighting expert, and he's going to be writing a lighting course for me for kitchen designers.
Gotcha.
And so there will, so the regular new courses definitely will be looking at bringing out new courses, new topics, always keeping in contact with the students. What are you looking for? What do you need? And start developing courses to meet their needs.
Okay, awesome. As we end the webinar, how do anyone that's interested, how do they reach out to you?
Yeah, so probably the best way is to pop on the website, www.vestabul, which is spelt VESTABUL.com. And, just a little side note, vestibule it's a play on the words, vestibule, of entering a home, and kind of that center, that start of the home, and how everything comes out from the vestibule. And so the name and the other part of the name came from the goddess Vesta. She was the Roman goddess of the hearth and the home. And when I was reading about her and started studying about her, I went, this is the perfect thing that represents what my business is. The kitchen is the heart of the home, and that's where the design training comes from. So the website, once you get onto the website, you can get my email, which happens to be vestibule.design@gmail.com, or reach out to the phone. My phone number is 1-778-868-7621. And you leave a message or send a text, I'll definitely get back to you.
Okay. Now we're going to open it up to questions, and we actually have a few already as you were talking. So one question we have on the website, do you have an outline of what is in each of the courses?
Absolutely. So when you go onto the website, click onto the courses section, and that first page really takes you through, what a cornerstone course is, an icon course, a pillar course, etc. A little bit, about me. But if you see a course that you're really interested in, so for instance, if you were to look at the Beginner's Guide to Kitchen Design, click on that, and a page is going to pop up that will give you what the learning objectives are in the course. It will give you what the outline is. There's even a free preview there, but each one of the courses has a lot of information on the front page of it, before you click on to purchase it, to really give you an idea of what is going to be in the course, what you're going to learn, what your takeaways will be.
Okay. And then one of the other questions, you had talked about the different levels. How long on averages are each of the levels?
So the cornerstone courses will be in that 2-hour range, at least. There's a lot to cover. Kind of the beginners one is there. I'm in the process of working on the next level, but those will be about 2 hours. An icon course will run somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes max. But as I said, the platform that I've used to put the courses on, is excellent, that I was able to break it up into these little 5 to 7 minute modules. So if you want to take an icon course, you only got 10 minutes, well, you can maybe look at the first few lessons, and then you can come back to it, and you can go back and look at them again. And then the pillar courses, they're going to range. Like, I'm just launching the interior finishings one this week. I bet it's probably 2 hours. So, because it's long. Like, I go through the whole introduction to what these products are and how you might use them and what mistakes can happen and what to look for. And then the second half of it is really targeted on how to, what type of ceiling treatments could you do in a kitchen. So it gets very detailed. So I wouldn't sit down and go through that one in a 2-hour span. You're probably going to want to break it up and come back and revisit some and just do it at your pace. That was really my goal, is to have the courses available for you to learn at your pace.
Okay. A few more here. Are these open to CEU credits?
At this point, they are not. I have written CEUs in the past. I have not registered them. It's not to say that I won't. I may look at them, but one of the things is, having written CEUs in the past, there's a formula to writing a CEU. It must be an hour long. It must, there can be no branding, etc. And I didn't want to have to be so regimented with the courses, so I haven't pursued that. But I am getting encouraged by some of my colleagues that some of the courses might be great to go about looking into registering. So keep tuned. keep checking back.
Good deal. One other question they were asking now, you said you plan to have ongoing training. When do you plan to release new training? And they also had, are you open to listening to what others may believe, what the other training should be about?
Absolutely. So my overall plan is to try to launch a new course, every month to every 6 weeks. Right now, I have 8 courses that are launched, and so if having that goal of every month or so to bring up a new course, and absolutely I want to get feedback from my students or my learners or anybody in general, because there are so many topics. Right. I have a list of courses that I would like to write over the years. It's 10 pages long, because there's kitchen design, then there's bathroom design. I'm an expert in universal design. There's so much, closet design, space planning. There's a lot that this industry can bring to the table. Like, when you become a kitchen designer, it's very easy for you to start designing, the luxe laundry room or the home office. Even how our situation in the world is right now, when you look at what the COVID lockdown has done to us, there is going to be a lot of focus on, well, how can I design a home office into people's homes?
Exactly.
I think the kitchen is going to change. That, people are going to be looking at, well, maybe I need to have more multiple workstations in my house when there's 5 people living here full time and working full time. And what kind of storage requirements? Maybe the pantry is, the larder and the pantry is going to need to be done. So that's a course. I'm thinking, we need maybe I need to write something about that. Mm-hmm.
That'd be a good one, actually, because I, speak with a lot of real estate agents, and that's one thing that they say since the whole coronavirus has happened, more people that are home shopping, home office used to be an option. Now it's like a mandatory. Now it's Absolutely. Like a mandatory. Yeah. And in terms of the size of the home office, they're looking at the size, not just converting, one of the bedrooms, but actually having where they have enough room to have all of their office equipment in that home office. So
yeah. Absolutely. And the kitchen designer is ideally suited for that. They just need the training. Like this, I have been designing home offices for over 20 years, and it's all of those little tricks and hints that I can give you about looking at the equipment and making sure there's air circulation and not and even you want to be measuring the height of reference books and binders to make sure they're fitting on the shelves. And your home office really needs to be functional. And as I said, the kitchen designer, I think, is ideally situated to be able to do that with their access to the millwork and the cabinetry. And as long as they have the guidelines and the basics and have the knowledge, great new revenue source for people. I think it's going to be something that we're going to be seeing a lot more of.
I agree completely. Do we have any last questions out there? While I ask that, do you have any closing comments you want to let? No?
Yeah, I did want to let everybody know that I really, really appreciate that Jason has interviewed me today and let me come on and talk about Vestabul School of Design. And I did want to offer all of your listeners a coupon code. So if they want to come on to Vestabul School of Design and click on the courses, if you would like to take any of the courses, I would like to offer you a 50% discount coupon. And I have it running till the end of September right now, but definitely, I can look and see to extend that if we've got a lot of people wanting to take some courses from the webinar. And if people want to write it down, and I'm sure, Jason, you'll have it in the replay.
Yes, but, I'll have it on the recording. Yeah.
So when somebody goes in and goes to checkout, on my checkout, if they enter the coupon code KANDBMS, which stands for Kitchen and Bath Marketing Solutions, but put that KANDBMS in the coupon code area, they'll receive a 50% discount on all the courses till the end of September.
Awesome. That is much appreciated, Jen. And we appreciate having you here today because I don't think there are any other questions. If you have any other questions at all, reach out to Jen directly, and you see her information here. We're going to also have this on the replay. Wait, we have one more last. We just had a few people saying great job. Okay,
thank you.
So, yeah, but you can reach out to her with this information here. You'll see the email and the number. Reach out to her. So next month, we will be talking about video marketing, August the 26th. 2020, I've been asked by a few clients to talk about video marketing and how do you do quick videos for before and afters and use that for lead generation purposes or just to promote projects. So we're going to have some special guests on to talk about that. So we will see you next month and have a good day. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.